you never wake up from that dream, you can never say that it is reality or is it a dream. So the reality becomes a dream on waking up from sleep. Let's say if your sleep never breaks, then that dream will become your reality. So because we have a sleep in between the two states, the wakeful state and the dream state, the sleep is there. So when the sleep is there, the dream is a reality. And when sleep is not there, then the reality is a dream. We can understand this from another perspective also. When you are in the dream world, you totally forget the waking world. You have no recollection or remembrance of the waking world when you are in your dream world. Meaning when the consciousness is in the waking world, you still have some memories of the dreams which you had, but when you are in the dream world, you don't have any memory of your waking world. Hence, the dream might seem very fluid, meaningless, but the reality is when it is happening, it's happening so powerfully and strongly that that dream becomes your reality. We usually don't ponder on our own dreams. We don't think on our bound dreams. We don't understand how it comes and it goes. We are so bothered about our waking world that our mind is filled with all the crappy fears and scares and hopes for this waking world, which seems to be the real world. We don't think about the dreams while being awake. And when you are in the dream, there is no remembrance of the waking world, happenings, incident, or whatsoever. When you wake up from a dream, how do you see that dream after the sleep has gone? Yeah, once you are fully awake, then maybe for a few minutes or few seconds, some very overpowering dream which has huddled up some emotions of, say, fear or joy or pleasure or something that might give you the area to ponder upon what dream you had. But usually you don't even think again about what kind of dream happened or not happened. Once the dream is gone, it's gone. As if it was meaningless. But when it is happening, it is a reality for you. So the difference in between the reality and the illusion is very big. But that doesn't mean that on seeing a dream, you will see the molecular structure of all the things what you are seeing. Just because, say, you have a dream, but in dream you still have the memory and you are very vigilant about it and you have this thought in the dream, it is a dream. So what would happen? Possibility is that you will wake up. But another possibility is that the dream still might continue. With you having the feeling that it is a dream. Two possibilities I am saying. But that doesn't mean that on understanding that this dream is a dream, that dream will suddenly become like a molecular vision for you, or seeing the cellular dance happening in the universe. So the name and form, what you are seeing, will be as real or solid the way it is for an ignorant man, would be same for an enlightened man. We can't say that a realized person's eyes will suddenly change into microscope and will see the molecular or the cellular dancing happening. In Gita, Krishna is asked this question by Arjuna, that how does an enlightened being see? How does he hear? How does he behave? How does he talk? How does he will interact? This is a very specific question which Arjuna is asking to Sri Krishna. And then Sri Krishna says that in the behavior of a jnani, jnani is the Sanskrit word for the realized person, the behavior of the jnani would be as normal as any other person, but even when the jnani is talking, he knows it is the body and the speech organ which is functioning with the help of the mind. And he knows that what I am seeing is just an imposition of the illusionary world on the basis of the substratum, the omniscient, Brahman, and everything else, whatever I am seeing, the name and the form, are just the ripples, are just the waves occurring in the ocean of the conscious existence, Satchitanand existence. So the name and form is just going to be as it is, not that the Jnani will be having some microscopic eyes and will be looking at that, the cellular or the molecular waves or the particles are suddenly being seen. There are nothing like that, nothing like that. Sa pashyati pashyati. The one who knows the self will see the world as it is. But even in that seeing, there is no misconception that it is truth or it is real. Knowing that this body is not me, the Jnani will be still using this body to walk, to talk, to sit, to sleep, to eat, to hear, to sing, to dance. So all these so-called activities of the body will be absolutely as normal as any ignorant person's movement of body or the senses would be. There won't be any difference in that. The only difference is for an ignorant person, what is seen is real and the real self is not known. But for the Jnani, the real self is known, and whatever is being seen by eyes or the forms and the shades of colors and the structural changes happening or the climatic changes happening are all seen as they are. There is nothing extraordinary in that. There is no difference in seeing. But still, there is a very, very big change, should I say. But that change is not a exercised or induced change. That change is a very gradual, without any effort. Like for a common person, it is a great effort to silence the mind. But for a Jnani, it is an effortless thing to silence the mind, or if the mind is being used to think and create an idea or create a strategy or create a plan. So the Jnani is using his or her mind beautifully without the mind being allowing the mind to overpower the wisdom. It's like when you are learning, say, a ballet dance. It's a huge exercise. If you have ever seen the classes begin when the child is at age of 3. And from 3 to actually by 18, the whole career is done. So this child who goes to the ballet school is practicing and stretching and stretching and stretching and learning to stand on the toes with the poise and learning to harden up the tips of the toes in such a way that they have these special shoes which they wear, and with the help of that shoe, obviously, but still they are standing tall on the toes, tip of the toes, and not only standing, they are leaping, they are jumping, they are twirling, they are dancing, they are doing everything. But when they begin, it's torture. They bleed, they ache, they break their muscles sometimes, they have spasms. The life of any ballet dancer is a very, very tough, disciplined life, and they go through a lot of pain sometimes. But once they have practiced enough, then they're dancing, they're jumping, everything is so effortless. I saw the very famous ballet dance of the Russia, the Swan. Once I was in England, and I especially actually flew to this city to watch this show. And how beautifully they are gliding in the air. They are doing the dance with that poise, and that live musicians are playing, and the singing is happening, and it's like a magical dream world which you see. But that dancer is, at that point, after so many years of practice. So initially, if somebody, now I'll bring this analogy to my point, and my point is this, that when somebody begins the journey on this path, it's a great effort to calm the mind, to make it quiet, to do the dharana, to integrate, to have that right level of concentration. The mind is slipping away like mercury. Mind is like that frog which is just jumping around. And it's hard to even sit for half an hour. Is like eternity. So the person who just begins, because the mind is filled with so much of strong emotions and is filled with so many desires and is filled with so many prejudices, so it becomes very difficult for the person to sit down calm, right? But as the practice goes deeper and deeper, the mind is actually then in a zone where the mind doesn't even exist. That's what the Buddhists call it, the no mind. It's not that the mind will go in total shunyata or emptiness, but it is not there. Like your body shadow is formed when there is sun, and once there is no sun, there is no body shadow. So where did the shadow go? Shadow is not different from the body, but yet for a shadow to be, there has to be some source of light. Even now there is no sun, but the lights over here are falling on your body, so the shadows are again being created. But that shadow is not different from the body. That shadow doesn't have its own identity. That shadow is just there because the body is there. So you don't say, okay, now I am going to go to temple, and then you talk to your shadow, do you want to go? Come along. You don't do that. You don't buy a ticket for a bus and say, this is one ticket for me and one for my shadow. The shadow is the body. The body is creating that shadow. So for a jnani, this whole world is shadow. My shadow. It's like my shadow. And shadow is not different from me. So jnani sees the whole world as me. it's very difficult maybe to understand what I'm saying for a non-initiate who doesn't knows the philosophy and the understanding of the Vedanta. For that person it will be difficult. But I can give you one analogy that once you know what water is, then every bubble and every wave and every foam, whether of variant sizes or whatever it is, the undercurrent waves in the sea or the currents which are on the surface of the sea, every current is water. So if water is asked the question, how do you see the waves and the bubbles and the foam? What will water say? Water says, well, it's me. So for Jnani, this whole world is me.